What's up, beautiful people? We are live. We are live. We are live. Happy Monday. Hope everyone is doing well. I was backstage jamming to the countdown music. What's up? What's up? Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a healthy, safe, and beautiful Thanksgiving, a long weekend. So I got to do a lot of work and some rest, which felt really good. So if you guys
Mhm.
are on here now joining us, please share this out with your family and friends. This is our fifth live behind the mic talk series brought to you by Your Queens, presented by iRant Network and the Ranters Union. My name is Akiwa Asimota, also known as Kiki's Famous. I'm the creative director of an amazing company called Your Queens. And what we do is we teach about African royalty through storytelling, song, and dance. What does that mean?
Mhm.
We evaluate, educate, and express the dynamic lineage of ancient African royalty like Queen Amina, King Tut, Queen Nzinga, Goddess Isis, and we come to you to present our real stories. So, short story is we are inspired by Disney characters. However, they didn't really teach us about who we are. So you can actually book us. Book Queen Amina, Goddess Isis, Queen Nefertiti, also Nana Ya Asantewa, and we come to you for birthday parties, daycare centers, school presentations. Bring us to your school for Black History Month, Women's History Month. We are here for you, especially during these times. And while we're doing behind the talk series, you get to meet my amazing team and also special guests that I love dearly. I love the work that they do, and they're here to share with you. So I want to bring on my audience. Y'all are my audience. I want to bring on my guest. If we can bring on our guest on today. Yes, yes, yes. Today's topic is inner peace and healing. Inner peace and healing. We need it where we're talking about childhood trauma, talking about mental health, talk about healing, whatever that looks like for you. It's so important, especially during this time. And without further ado, first, I would like to have one of our queens jump in. And first queen I want to bring up is Timmy La Rode, who I've known for over a decade, one of my beautiful, beautiful dear sisters. Timmy, say hello to our beautiful audience.
Hello, everyone. Oh my goodness. My name is Timmy Larode, and I've been part of your Queens from since the beginning, and it's just been a profound journey. Um, and I've known Eki for quite a long time, and at the moment, I'm so excited to have be on this conversation because this is all that I am right now in this moment, especially in this time, and a person dedicated to doing healing work on myself, first and foremost before I can help others. And I am a shamanic practitioner, Reiki practitioner, and I'm a poet, dancer, writer, which is all healing work. I do everything that brings out my inner child. It's healing work. So yeah, and I'm so excited to be on the call and dive deep. And I'm like I was taking some notes before the call, so I'm really, really excited. We've had 5 discussion already, or this is the fifth one, and I made sure that I'm here, to share whatever I have been doing, as far as like when it comes to healing. So I'm super excited to be here and to share this space with y'all. So thank you for having me.
Woo! Thank you,
And
Timmy.
I forgot to say, maybe I said it. As part of your queens, I play goddess Isis, and who is a goddess of love, the goddess of healing, the goddess of magic, the goddess of life and death. So of course I needed to be here in spirit and as goddess Isis as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Goddess. Appreciate you. Next up, we have Queen Aisha. You guys remember she was here on Wednesday and joining back. We had a powerful, powerful discussion on the topic was protect the Black man and woman. We had so much more to talk about and just really excited to have her back on this panel for inner peace and healing. What's up, Aisha?
Hi, y'all. My name is Aisha. I play Queen Makita as part of your queens. I also serve, and she is the one of the queens of faith and wisdom and journeys. In addition to that, I also serve as our marketing partnerships director, looking to collaborate and connect with beautiful brands, organizations, people who have a similar message of uplifting Black people. So in addition to that, I also work in higher education. And for me in that space, and in generally all the work that I do, for me, it's important to like uplift and empower like Black livelihood. So healing is the way that we're going to get there. And so I feel really excited to join this conversation and looking forward to hearing all that we have to share, and like also learn, right? Like not just like participate, but like learn from you all about how you all achieve healing, or it's aspirational that we're continuing to heal. So thank you.
Thank you for being here. Next up, we have another dear friend of mine, Rashina, who's been in your queen since it was an idea. So go ahead, Rashina.
Hi, everyone. I am Rashina. Like Eki said, I've been a part of Your Queens Incorporated since the inception, since it was a thought in her beautiful creative mind. And these 5 years and going have been an amazing journey, exciting, fun. And just I've learned so much, I've healed so much, and I just want to be able to give it back and pay it forward. I play Queen Amina. She is a warrior queen from Nigeria. If anyone knows me, I am a warrior in more ways than one. I'm always ready to put up a fight and stand up for my people and stand up for what's right. I am a teacher. I've been teaching, started substitute teaching in 2005. I started home teaching in 2012. And I've always taught in early childhood education, so from birth to second grade. Currently, I'm teaching pre-kindergarten. So I'm very excited to be on this call to kind of, speak on childhood trauma and the way it can manifest and ways that we as adults can help heal, can help these children heal and kind of change our mindset to recognize these signs with our children. So I'm excited. Thanks for having me on this call. And I'm excited to hear what everyone has to say and to just soak it in and learn from you all.
My mic was muted. Next up, thank you, Rashina. Next up, I want to introduce two of our special guests. I'm going to start off with Queen Fairy Hawk, who I met, I want to say maybe 3 years now. I think about 3 years we connected, and we connected right away, and we keep connecting in different platforms in different ways. She's an amazing, just powerful, positive energy, which I love. So, Fairy Hawk is a healing guide and founder of Manifest Your Soul, which uses ancient modalities and wisdom to assist the awakening of your soul's purpose. Y'all heard that? She uses her intuition and highest guidance in her art, activist work as a body face and mandala painter, intuitive masseuse, and sound vibrational practitioner. She is also a Kundalini yoga teacher and a cacao ceremonialist. Let's give it up for Fairy Hawk. Thank you for being here. Share with our audience.
Peace. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Eki. This is just such an honor to be here. I'm so grateful and excited to share space with you all, to learn with you all, and to just like spread the healing. For me, healing is the revolution. Is the revolution that we've been looking for. It doesn't start until we start healing inside first and then going, like the other sister said, to really help give to others. So this is just gonna be a beautiful time. I'm so grateful and excited.
Thank you for all your joy and your love. We appreciate you.
Thank
Next
you.
up, absolutely. We couldn't not have this panel without having a king present up in here. And I'm so honored to introduce to you Purvis Taylor III. Now, Purvis, I've known since we were in our 20s. We've worked together on several different schools or organizations and different platforms. I'm a friend of his. I tell him all the time, but I'm also a huge fan of his. I've also gotten work done from him. I'm constantly supporting because what he does is it's needed, especially for our Black men. So I'm going to read a bit about Purvis and then he'll share. Purvis Taylor III's purpose in life is to help men maximize their potential, master their emotions, and thrive in the lives of their dreams. As an award-winning celebrity life coach, inspirational speaker, mentor, and author, Purvis travels the nation delivering his uplifting message to crowds, large and small. He has developed countless individuals to achieve their goals, including me, and it is excited to see where his journey of self-empowerment will take him next. I also have to add one more thing before you share. And sometimes he may share it or not, but I'll blow it up. He has also had a ceremony, which was recently done last week, and had an honorary doctorate degree upon him. So now I want to give it up to Dr. Purvis Taylor III.
Woo! Oh my gosh. I am so honored to be here. I'm so honored. Eki, you know I love you. Anytime you ask me to do anything, it's always a yes. I'm honored to hold this space with the queens, to offer my insight as it relates to mental health and to wellness. One of the things that it's paramount for me in the work that I've been doing for over 10 years is not just about healing, but getting to the space of wholeness. And wholeness is really learning to master the things that once have mastered us. And so that's the thing I want to get us to, this place of not just healing, but to a place of wholeness and thriving.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. For those of you guys who are just joining in, my name is Ekiwa Asamota, creative director of Your Queens, and we are here for our 5th panel discussion of Behind the Mic Talk series. We have some of our amazing and beautiful queens on here and 2 special guests. The topic is inner peace and healing. Definitely please jump in on the comments and share. One of our queens is on here, Queen Shannon, for yes, doctor. Yes. Hello, King, from one of our queens, our mentors, Queen Denise. She's on here. Thank you, Queen, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Good morning, everyone, from Mr. Jones 169. We appreciate you. Hi, Queen Ravioli. Welcome. Thank you for being here, Queen Ravioli. Yes. So I want to get the conversation, jump right in and get started. Peace, Tyler. Woo woo. We appreciate you. Yes. The first question. Oh, we got some more comments going in from our queen. We need every one of you. Oh, we love you, Queen Mother. We love you. Thank you. So I want to dig right into the first question, and for us to share, how do you feel about therapy? How do you feel about therapy? I'm going to have Queen Aisha. I see the head nod. I'm vibing.
Yes, because I love therapy. I'm not a therapist, but believe in it. So yeah, I'm 100% team therapy. I think it's one of those things where it's like, I wish people could more like opt out as opposed to opt in, because I think some people will realize that they like can benefit from it. And some people might be like, this was cute, I don't need it. And then you come back whenever you need it. I think therapy for me, I've been blessed to been able to access therapy since I was maybe a senior in high school. And it was by accident. I was part of a theater program for youth. And they were just like, these are all the services. And they were like, everyone's like always recommended to go to one. And I was like, oh, I was like, it's weird to talk about myself. And then I told my whole life story and I was like, wow, that felt great. And so I came back the next week. And that's kind of how I started, you know, into it. And I just think that, you know, for me, at least therapy is, I look at it as someone helping me to sort out the thoughts that I have. I have a lot of things going on 24/7. And just helps to have someone that's just like, yes, this is this, and these are this, and this is connected. And these might not be connected, but you're connecting them for some reason. And like, let's unpack that. And so I find it a worthwhile experience. And yeah, I can continue to sing the praises, but I'll end there. So yes, I am team therapy.
Yes, yes, I second that. I'm gonna have Queen Fairy Hawk to tune in. How do you feel about therapy?
So actually, the crazy thing is that I went to therapy as a child, and it traumatized me to be honest, because I was forced into
I
it.
feel
I
like you
was
told
forced
me this
into it.
before. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I did. And I was forced into it, and it wasn't a good experience at all for me. And I had to keep on going. It was actually it was by court, with family court,
Mhm.
that I had to go. And I was kicking and screaming the whole way. And I was like, okay, well, if I have to be here, you want a story? I just made up a whole bunch of shit. I was like, okay, well, this is what's gonna happen. And then, I was able to leave that, and actually I went back to therapy in my later years, and it was one of the most changing life experiences for me at that time, because I didn't know what else to do. I was in a place where I did everything I could, everything that I thought would work at that moment. And so long story short, I was adopted, and I was raised in a white Jewish household. I'm Colombian. And I had a lot of identity issues, identity crisis, all kinds of stuff growing up. And this therapist was like, well, I actually recently had a client who found their biological family. And I was just like, really? Wow.
Wow.
And so, and it just like put like a whole idea into my head that I never even thought of. And I was like, wow, well, if that person could do it, maybe I could do it. And long story all the way short, I ended up finding my biological family. And
Wow.
yeah, and if it wasn't for therapy, that wouldn't have happened. And she really encouraged me to do so. She like helped me, she prepared me. It was many different steps, and yeah, I mean, there was many other things, but it definitely was the catalyst. And I am gonna be going back to therapy. I stopped, and I'm going back to therapy very soon.
Wow. Queen, thank you for sharing that. Like that, I love that full circle you just shared. Like initially, it was not a good experience, and a lot of times people see that and go like, "Yeah, this is not for me." But you tried it again, and then you were able to find your parents, and then you saw the healing. Like that's inspiring already for those who are viewing, and even those for us. I experienced something like that in college as well. You just made me remember. I totally forgot about it. Where I went to seek therapy in college, and they ignored me. They never called me back. So now I don't. Of course, I'm younger. So therapy worked when the queen told her truth. Yes, I picked up on that, Ms. Ravioli. Congratulations. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I remember initially being like, how they gonna not? I reached out. You guys are not like checking for me. I didn't take it personally. You never know what goes on at that time. So I got older, did my healing work, then went back to therapy. So it made me think about that story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you for listening.
Awesome. You're welcome. Timmers. Let me read this comment real quick. I believe therapy is only as good as the therapist and the level of truth provided to said therapist. Fix reality instead of fantasies. Thank you, Ms. Ravioli. Yes, 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 yes. Timmy.
So, how do I feel about therapy? I will honestly say, in growing up Caribbean, in the beginning, therapy was like, no. And I've actually never been to therapy, but just the idea of someone from my family going to therapy when I was younger was just like, that's like, what's wrong with you mentally? Like, just in general, I feel like in the Caribbean culture, we never grew up wanting to, or with even having access to talk to someone, or with the idea of talking to someone because maybe there's something wrong. It was just not even existent. But now at this age, I love the idea of therapy. I recommend, even though I've never done it, well, I feel like even talking to your friends is therapy. And also, depending on what kind of therapy are we
Yeah,
talking to,
yeah.
I do nature therapy, you know. If it's talk therapy, I definitely believe in it. I've seen, people have like great outcome from it, and but my type of therapy right now is nature therapy, friends therapy, which is also all that lovely therapy, so I'm for it.
Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. Thank you for
For it, for
sharing.
sure.
Queen L, I'm calling everyone Queen. My homegirl L is on here, one of my dear, dear sisters. Self-care, self-peace, self-healing. I'm all for it. Yes, yes. Like Timmy said, therapy could mean something different. Doesn't necessarily mean in talking to a professional. You can actually talk to a dear friend of yours. I have many conversations with Timmy, even with Rashina and Aisha about different things going on in our life that we can share with each other. Therapy can also mean maybe you're meditating. That's your form of therapy. You're going running. You're writing in your journal. Dancing. I love dancing. That heals me in so many different ways. Absolutely. Thank you, Elle, for being here. Queen Rashina, what are your thoughts on therapy?
So similar to Timmy, it wasn't something that was common in our household or in our family in general. It was more of a reaction to something outlandish that happened. Um, and not with us. Like we would never suggest, oh yeah, go to therapy. It would be, I'll see it in sitcoms. A mother gets divorced, or their spouse dies. Now they're a widow. They get therapy. So I just came up assuming that it was something that you did as a reaction to something terrible happening to you. But as I grew older, I realized it was something that could be a part of your life, just to help you. It's just an assistance. It's just to be there. It doesn't have to be a specific reason to go to therapy. And fast forward, as I grew more and more and started to learn that therapy comes in so many ways, I feel as if as a child my mother was my therapist unintentionally. I've never been a person that was taught to be quiet. I've always been a person that was taught, like, if you feel this way and you're uncomfortable, you say something right now. And my mother and my parents fostered that environment for me. So when I look back now, I'm just like, wow, like she was my therapist, because anytime I had, an emotion that was too extreme, it would be, all right, let me go talk to my mom and figure out what's going on with me. And then now I do the same with my friends. Like all my close friends call me Queen of TMI, but it's just because I just don't have time to waste on negativity or something that's just weighing down on my shoulders. I never saw it as an issue. Some people do, but I never saw it as an issue because it helped me be the best me I can be. Being able to just release that and refocus and say, all right, I got this off my chest. I can see it clearly now. Here's the goal. Here's how I fix it. So I'm totally for therapy. I feel as if more people should have it a part of their regular routine. I also think the government needs to start covering the cost of that. For one, because once you have that healing within and you're positive with who you are, even if you make a mistake, the violence and the crime rate will go down. A lot of people are doing these terrible things because they haven't healed within. So a lot of therapy can help these things, even from the smallest scale to the largest scale. If we're good within, there's no reason for me to go wild out in the streets. There's no reason for that. And if you see something, you're more likely to jump in and kind of stop it, or do your best to deter these behaviors, because you know how you feel inside and you want to give it to that other person. I feel so great inside. I want you to feel great too. So I'm totally for therapy, and I love to see more and more young Black individuals getting into therapy. They have like the text therapy now if you don't have the time or the money to go in and see someone. And also, as Eki and Timmy was saying, it comes in different forms. when I don't have someone I could just talk to or someone I feel can handle it, because I don't like to, dump on people. I can dance therapy. I've been able to just lock myself away and listen to songs and really get my mind going, get it going, unpack things. Art therapy, just coloring between the lines of some design, like your background. Oh, Queen, I was looking at your background, like I would color the mess out of that. And it would be so healing. So I feel everyone should explore what therapy they feel works for them. And I think it was Ravioli in the comments who said the therapist also has to be a good match. It's just like any relationship in the world, it has to be a good match, because if you're going to a therapist that isn't right for you, you may end up hating therapy. So I'm for it.
Thank you, Queen, for sharing. Y'all see this fly panel we got up in here? And yes, I love your mom. She is thebomb.com. Queen Michelle, how are you? Thank you for being here as one of my dancers. We appreciate you. We want you guys to chime in on the comments as well. What do you guys feel about therapy, healing within? Yes, yes. King Purvis, share your thoughts with us. Therapy helped me tremendously. Denise Chair, thank you
Yes.
for sharing that.
I am such a proponent for therapy. I actually have a master's in clinical psychology, so I am all about therapy. One of the benefits, one of the major things for me in my experience with therapy is that it taught me how the importance of a safe space, number one. Number two, the importance of words and how words are spirits. And really therapy in traditional talk therapy is an exchange of words, because your healing is always in your words. So it taught me how to conceptualize and contextualize thought and how to develop an emotional lexicon. And I think that's so important that we understand, that we be descriptive about what it is that we're experiencing. I think some of us, our healing is limited because we don't have the language to express it. And one of the things that therapy taught me, and just even just going for so many years, is the importance of my words, the importance of being vulnerable and understanding that vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness, and the importance of being transparent and understanding, I think Queen Ravioli said, it only works to the degree that you're willing to be honest and vulnerable. And so, like, I understand that if I'm going to see my therapist, I got to be raw. I have to be unapologetically transparent, because I want to be healed unapologetically and whole unapologetically. So
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. That's so powerful. Ready for our buenas, Graciela. You got some love, some of your peoples up on here. Peace and blessings. Thank you for being here. If you guys are joining in, we are your queens. We teach about African royalty through storytelling, song, and dance. This is our fifth Behind the Mic Talk series. And today our topic is inner peace and healing. And the question was, how do you feel about therapy? And therapy for all of us can mean different things, but at a whole is working on ourselves. I love how Dr. Purvis talked about words, and it's so important. Like when we get older, words are so important. Like what you say to yourself, even if you say, like, I am powerful. Oh, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Those things and what you're manifesting out there is really, really powerful. We're energy, we're vibrating. So we have to be conscious of what we are saying and what we're putting out in the universe. So I want to go to our second question. And I think Timmy came together to put this question for us. As you see us here, I'm going to read it. I saw your face. As you see us here, we have a team of other kings and queens. We have a board of directors. We have princesses. It's a whole collaborative effort. We come together to talk about these topics. Who's going to be on the panel? So again, we are your queens. And the next question is, I'm going to see if Timmy can jump on and answer this question first. How do you feel trauma from childhood and our ancestors' enslavement? Because you guys know I don't like to say our ancestors were slaves. We were enslaved. We didn't ask to get through that. Before that, we were kings and queens, doctors, lawyers. You know the deal. So how do you feel trauma from childhood and our ancestors' enslavement has affected us now?
I remember that question that I was thinking of at that moment. And and more or less what I was thinking of is how we react as adults, as little children still. And um and funny enough, I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday who's actually in therapy, and she's not having a good relationship with her son. And then we were talking about like how she doesn't have a good relationship with him. And then she mentioned from the womb and when he was born, she never like hugged him, you know? And now she is hugging him, but when he was born, she wasn't hugging him. And I was like, well, that's where the bond broke. For me, that's what I was looking at it from that point, you know, and that's to me that looked like childhood trauma, you know, for the little boy and for her as well. And I posted something not too long ago where it says like, how is the little child inside of you? And I always think about like, you know what, how am I triggered by certain things, and why am I triggered by those things, and what age I was when I was triggered by that, you know, because I'm acting like a little child at that moment, you know. So yeah, it's like I feel like it's healing the inner child, and I feel like that's where the true healing is, you know, is healing the little children within us. And then when it comes to our enslavement, this is very deep because I don't have the answer for that, but I feel like a lot of things that we went through as not we went through, but that our ancestors went through, that's still within us, you know, that's 7 generations back. And if we don't heal that, if I'm the person that's healing it right now, that generation is going to get healed, and the generation that's coming, you know, ahead of me. So it's very deep. I'm getting hot just even talking about it, you know, because it's just like, how can you even get to that point, you know, to heal generations back and to that inner child? And meditation, you know, I do a lot of inner child work meditation. And even one time I started even thinking about how I can go back in time to heal my ancestors with meditation, you know. So yes, we have a lot of work to do. So
But as
much work
long as
to
we're
do.
doing the work, right?
Oh, yeah. And it starts with us. And I'm doing it. There's a saying that one of my teachers says, like, you know what, I'm doing the work for myself because there's no others. But then also, there is no others, but then that's also an illusion because it's an illusion, because we have to do it for ourselves, as if there was no other people around. Because when we heal ourselves, that's when everyone else is going to see that, you know.
It's like a butterfly or like a flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, how can we? It's a lot, but we're doing it.
Mhm.
We're doing it now, having this conversation.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you, Timmy. No, we are doing it now. Even I love conversations, and for everyone that's tuning in, and even for our panel as well, that we use this time to listen to each other, share with each other, and also carry it on. It just doesn't leave here. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just even speaking to you guys, I can feel I take on. Healing for me is 24/7. Manifestation for me is 24/7. It's a constant thing. So I receive the words, I receive the energy, the positive vibes. And you're talking about inner child. Like I want to share it later. I found this picture of y'all know I love to pose. I'm always striking a pose, right? Since I was a little girl. And I found a picture of me in Nigeria striking a pose at 8 or 9 years old. So I put a picture side to side of me looking at my inner child, smiling, and it warmed my heart. Like, okay, girl, you're doing the same thing. I see you. But embracing those moments, it brought me so much joy. But embracing, just seeing that part, I was like, okay, I love where this is going. So going into your inner child, what does that feel like? For me, I meditating every day. I'm even learned a lot from my sister Timmy, putting my hand on my heart and feeling that. Even moments to say, I'm sorry for anything that you've been through, or even saying I'm proud of you for what you're doing, those different things, and not feeling ashamed or as anyway. That's you better love up on yourself and feel everything, because it's only going to bring you closer to who you are and closer to have the right people around you, to elevate. So I'm going to have Dr. Purvis jump on.
I love the question. One of the things that I found is that trauma that's not transformed is transmitted, and emotions are like energy; they don't die, they just transform. And so when it comes to our inner child and trauma, how that shows up in our lives, as Timmy eloquently stated, it stunts our growth emotionally. It alters our mental filter and how we see and how we show up in the world. It affects other aspects of our lives, like relationships. It does quite a bit of damage to us if we're not even aware of it. And I think for many of us, we're not even aware of the trauma that's showing up in our lives, or even understanding that we're transmitting the trauma that we've never dealt with. As far as ancestral, to our ancestors who were enslaved, that shows up, I feel, in communal ways, in the way that we collectively, as much as we want to be unified, we can't quite get unified. We're all, the division, the divisiveness, the sense of radical individualism and not a sense of community. It shows up in various ways. And one of the things that I do, like what you just said, Eki, I tend to look at myself with grace and care now, as opposed to judgment and being harsh, because I understand that the child in me wants to, the good part of me, the happy, the joyful, the silly part of Purvis, that's the child, right? That's the child that was uninhibited, that had freedom, and the part of me, the issues, the traumas that I've experienced, that part of the child, that's the child that I want to make sure that I love upon, and that I say to myself, yo, it's okay. You only knew what you knew at that time. If you had more information, you probably would have chose differently, but you were a child. So having grace for myself, I think totally helps liberate the child within us.
Powerful. I want to share really quick, and then I want to have Queen Aisha jump in, just for our audience, for those who are still on edge about therapy or doing that healing work, because we all experience it. By raise of hand, who's been through trauma? Okay, so I'm doing this for our audience to see. Yes, you are not alone. And look at that. We smiling. We're good. We're working. We're growing. All that good stuff. Yes. Queen Aisha.
These conversations, I was just like, whew, it's a lot. But I think that, at least the notion of like ancestral trauma, like I think that we got to understand the complexity of that to like really tackle it. So yes, like many of our ancestors were enslaved. Many of our ancestors were colonized. They dealt with imperialism. They're still dealing with imperialism. We're still dealing with slavery. We're still dealing with all these different things. And I think it's really important for us to acknowledge that like bondage exists in different capacities. And it depending on who you are, it inhibits your life all the time. I can say for me, like that's my experience. And so for me, it's like acknowledging that oppression exists, and like being able to say it and name it is helpful to me in my healing, because it helps me from being like, I'm not crazy. Like, I know that there are things happening in the world that are out of my control, that there are certain ways that systems work to disempower me, right? And so like when I have an understanding of that, I can acknowledge like where can I move? What is my power? And I have it. I do have power. And that, that it helps me understand and move into a space of like action. So that's like one thing that I think about when we have this conversation. And so for me, that healing is 100% being like myself, being the most free person I can possibly be. and doing so because I know that my ancestors were limited in multiple ways to be who they wanted to be, right? Because of bondage, because of laws that were regulating their personhood. And so for me, like that gives me permission to do that because like they weren't given the option to be as free. So I'm going to be me 100%. And that like really ties in for me with the conversation around like my inner child. Growing up, I always had, you know, a lively energy, but I felt like multiple times people tried to dim my light. I felt that like continuous for, you know, different things that I experienced. People who were afraid of my light, afraid of what I had to share, afraid of what truth that I would reveal. And so for me, you know, being my best self, being who I wanted to be, like I'm very proud of myself for who I am at 20. I'm 28. Okay. who I am at 28. You know, I think about maybe one of the lower points of my life is when I think I was maybe 14 or 13. And thinking about who I am, like I'm living my wildest dreams of the young woman I thought that I was going to be. Like I didn't know that I can be this person, like full of like I have interests and hobbies, and you know, like I help my parents, I take care of my community, like I'm an entertainer, I'm a performer, like things that I didn't know I can do. Growing up, I just felt like I had a path that was directed by my parents or like society of what my life would be, and I wasn't necessarily optimistic for that future. And so for me, being able to say like, when I get down and when I get, you know, to a place of not believing in myself, I think about, again, like Aisha at 16, at 13 years old, you know, who did she want to become? And like, when I remember that I'm exceeding my own expectations, that helps me heal. I remember that I'm doing the best I can.
Yes. And we are proud of you. We love seeing you glow and shine and all that good stuff. Let me read some of the comments. Mr. Jones says, well, I think therapy is for everything. It's for healing yourself and also feeling it to be doing the answer couple there be as well to do. And I mostly hear people talk about self-healing in therapy. Thank you for sharing. Els definitely believes in therapy as well. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes. Next up, I'm gonna have Fairy Hawk to jump in on this conversation.
Well, I definitely feel that, like our King brother was saying, that energy never dies. It just transforms and transmutes, and it is carrying with all of us. And I feel not just, you know, in this lifetime, it's been something that we've been carrying this burden many lifetimes. And it's something that we can't just ignore. I think that is something that we really need to recognize. And I think a lot of times it's kind of spoken of that was then, and this is now, and everything, you know, we can change. And yes, we can. And yes, thank you, Queen, for sharing. Like, you know, at such a young, vibrant age, you're still like glowing and you're doing all these things that you never thought you would do. So yes, we are healing and we are moving forward. But I really truly believe that we also have to heal our ancestors and heal that lineage, because then we can never truly move forward. We're kind of being stuck, you know, as a collective, and on all sides. For our ancestors, our Black and brown ancestors, and for our non-Black and brown brothers and sisters, we all have been affected. And I think that if we don't recognize that and don't act like that this is affecting us deeply, then I think that we're doing a disservice. And that, but at the same time, it's we need to recognize how, in the ways that today it is affecting us. Like, you know, I feel, and what I see in my community, it's a lot of lack mentality, unfortunately. And it's like we want to be able to say like, oh yeah, this is, we can do these things, we can go forward. But it's like this grained in our mind of lack that we don't have, and scarcity. And it's it's not something easy to overcome. And even just with the I feel in my personal experiences, just really being able to have that connection back to our land the way we used to. I feel like that whole our ancestors being enslaved, we had a we had a separation. We had a separation of our ancestral practices, of our spiritual practices, that we're not really, not that we're not able to practice now, but that we have been separated from in many different ways, and they have been vilified. And many of our practices have been now, talked bad about, and oh, this person is a witch, or does voodoo, or this and that, and these are practices that were done and so helpful to who we were and who we are. And now we have been so colonized. Our spiritual practices, a lot of them have been colonized, and I feel that we really need to go back to being able to connect the way that we connect with our ancestors, without having these thoughts of, wow, this is wrong, this is bad, this is the devil, this is these types of things. That has been also a form of the enslavement of our ancestors that happened, and we lost that connection. And the fact that we lost it, then we've been indoctrinated with things that aren't true to our people. We then took on other forms and ways to do things that have left us continue separation, and separation from ourselves, separation from our land. Our land, when we're separated from our land, it's really detrimental. Like, even me personally, being someone who in this lifetime, like I said before, I was born in Colombia, but I was adopted and raised here by a totally different ethnicity. Like, I definitely feel that calling for my land. When I go back to the land, I feel like it's so powerful to me to go back to Colombia. There's something about that land that holds a lot of wisdom for me and for my roots. And I think that when we lose that, it just it can be a lot. But how I personally am able to reconnect is just to go back to the elements, go back to honoring the air, the fire, the earth, the water, and connecting to spirit in that way. So to not lose our practices, and to know that we can connect how it always in many different ways. But for me, it's been a journey to go back to that. So, but we're doing it. We're all doing it.
No, thank you. You shared a lot, and you're saying, I'm like, ooh, all that. It's 100%. And I feel that when doing inner work and healing and therapy, we have to, as a people, well, I won't say we have to, because I want to watch my words. We are learning now to listen to each other, be there for each other, support each other in a non-judgmental. If someone's going through something, it's like, what's wrong with it? What's wrong? It's just like, yo, sis, you good? Yo, bro, you good? Because it can happen to any one of us at any time, and provide that safe space that supports. One of my goals with Your Queen is that we normalize these things where you don't feel like, I can't share. What is this person gonna? Oh no, I know I can talk to Eki. I know I can talk to Aisha. I know I can talk to Purvis. I know I can talk to Graciela. I know I can talk to Rashina, and normalize, because of what our ancestors been through. We've been through trauma. Childhood trauma. We've gone through stuff in our family and our ancestors as well. So we have to talk about this in order for us to elevate, because you already know, in my mind, we are kings and queens, and we walk in that space. Michelle says, I agree that moving forward and acknowledging what is holding us back in that moment is a part of healing. Yes. Ms. Ravioli, my DNA holds all that came before me. I tackle both my ancestors' past traumas and my current traumas as a nanosecond by nanosecond basis. Yes. The question has me thinking about the saying, children are resilient. I have witnessed that. Ooh, you went there, honey. Damaged adults as a result of childhood trauma. Very true. And what trauma at any age is not addressed, it will manifest. And again, it's saying these things not to say there's no one bad, something's wrong with you. It's just we've all experienced this before. How do we move from there? Especially if you're like with family or in a relationship. If you're not working on yourself and elevating and growing, you're putting that burden on your partner. That's not fair. So it has to be that balance. And a lot of times people deal with relationships or whatever, father, son, and you're carrying that weight. It's heavy. It's heavy. So all we need for us to find that space to work on whatever that healing and therapy means to you. Yes, being present is important and speaks volumes to the person who needs to be heard. Thank you. Queen Rashina, I'm going to have you jump in.
Our childhood trauma. Well, let me read the question again. How do you feel trauma from childhood and our ancestors' enslavement has affected us now? I believe it affects us both, childhood trauma and our ancestral trauma. It affects us in every way from the micro levels to the macro levels. Childhood trauma creates a person who never feels safe. It creates a person who was always thinking of fight, flight. I'm afraid, I get away. I'm afraid, I'm going to escape. That may manifest in a person as being like very agitated, a person who is afraid of commitment, which we hear all the time, a person who doesn't really hold a job for too long. It manifests in so many different ways because as a child, they never had that safe home. They never felt safe in their environment. The world was always unpredictable. The world was always scary to them. So they didn't settle in one place. They had to keep moving, keep moving. That childhood trauma is with you forever until you heal. Like the comment said, undealt with trauma manifests into issues as an adult. So I totally believe that childhood trauma affects us in more ways than we like to acknowledge, unfortunately. And we need to work on facing that childhood trauma and realizing that just because you're an adult by age, it doesn't mean that you're mentally over it. Something that happened to you when you were 4, you may talk about the story and laugh with your friends, but there's a pain associated with that story that you need to heal that pain. You need to release that pain. You need to talk about it. Because if you don't speak about it, and you don't heal from that trauma, you won't ever be able to get over that hurdle. I 100% believe in generational trauma as far as our enslavement of our ancestors. I feel that's like a controversial topic. A lot of people like to say, well, you weren't enslaved, your grandmother wasn't enslaved. It's like, but we still felt that. So no, I can't tap on my grandfather's shoulder and be like, hey, were you enslaved? Tell me about it. It's not about that. Our world was created for us to be at the bottom. We think about jobs, right? We grew up thinking that we just had to do hard labor. That was just it. If you were black or brown, you doing hard labor. Where does that idea come from? It came from slavery. It came from you aren't allowed to do anything else. Go in the field, do X, Y, Z. And once we were free, quote unquote, there still were laws to keep us out of. You weren't about to go be a lawyer. You were not about to go be a judge, sit on the Supreme Court. You weren't doing that. We just weren't allowed. And that just happens generation after generation after generation. That trauma affects us. Think of yourself when you were 5 or 6 and they ask you, I'm a teacher now, so I still hear this. It's changing a little bit, but when I was younger, what do you want to be when you grow up? All the black boys said a football player or a rapper, a basketball player or a rapper. And all the girls were like, I don't know, something. Like we had no idea. Where does that come from? We were taught this is what you have to do because you're black, you are brown, and you're a girl. So you pretty much just have to have children and figure out what you're going to do later. Go be a secretary or something. That comes from the remnants of our enslavement. That comes from the segregation. That comes from the civil rights movement. That comes from that. So for people to not acknowledge that generational trauma and that generational pain, how it affects us today is kind of like asinine. Like I said, now I'm teaching. I'll ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're saying stuff like the president. Why? Because we finally had a black president. We are still experiencing right now in 2020, we're still experiencing things like, oh my God, the first black such and such sworn into such and such. So if it wasn't a problem, why is it so exciting when we finally get someone on that panel, on that job, in that job title? It's an issue. It's a clear issue. You have to see color and you have to acknowledge that trauma. Imagine you're a person with a natural born talent and you can't manifest that talent because you literally have no representation. that is trauma. You're going to grow up with trauma. You're going to doubt yourself. Well, I have this natural talent. I really love this. I really should be XYZ, but all the people I know who do that are Caucasian. All the people I know that are male. All the people that do that, like who can be my mentor if I'm a little black or brown girl, a little black or brown boy? So it affects us in so many ways to what we desire, what we want for ourselves, what we think that we deserve. Even luxury with social media now, you see so many people putting their 4-year-olds in luxurious things. And I'm not talking about just like jewelry. I'm talking about a 4-year-old birthday party and they're getting manicures, a 5-year-old birthday party, they're getting pedicures, they're getting sipping out a little cute plush robes and slippers. And it's such a big thing to us now. We're like, oh my God, why haven't we always been doing this? We deserve. We don't always have to be working hard. You deserve. We deserve, even women, we deserve to be housewives. It is okay. We're always taught like, nah, you're a black woman, you better get out there and get it. Like I'm naturally like a feisty person, so that's not for me, but it's not wrong at all. That's 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% okay. But when you sit down and think about it, why do so many of us believe that we don't deserve that? Trauma, generational trauma, generational trauma. Why do so many of us turn our nose up when we do see elitist black or brown people? Trauma. It's okay to be elite. As long as you're not being mean or downing other people, it is absolutely okay. It's okay to say, I don't want to do this. This is what I prefer. Doesn't matter what your skin color is. So those things just manifest in so many ways in adulthood. And you know what? I don't even want to say adulthood because that starts, people kind of skip over the whole junior high school phase, but you're an adult. You know, at that age, you're finding yourself, you're going through physical changes. That is the time where you should be learning more about what you are going to be responsible for yourself. What are you going to do with yourself? Be responsible for yourself. We're taught to wait until like, all right, the middle of high school. Then you're like, all right, what are you going to do for college? What are you going to do? No, let's start that early. Let's focus early. And that's another thing, generational trauma, because you think those rich white people aren't talking about their jobs at 4. Their children are 7 learning how to play piano because they want them to grow up and be in an orchestra or something. So it's just so many different things that we believe are just cultural when it's really that negative, no, you can't, that was passed down from our ancestors, and we just don't feel comfortable doing it because we don't see it. So I totally feel as if we need to first acknowledge this trauma, childhood trauma, ancestral trauma. We need to acknowledge this in order to face it head on and figure out a way that we can heal. We can heal from it. It's not something that we cannot heal from. As long as we face it and we're honest about it, it's okay. It's okay. We also, one thing I want to leave this topic on is we have to understand that healing looks different for so many people. And I never want to give the idea that the way I'm healing is the way you need to heal. The way I'm doing it, you need to do it too. I want everyone watching now in the comments to just understand that healing looks different for everyone. So we may have that same common trauma, but you may heal by sitting on a couch and speaking to a therapist. I may heal by getting this job and I meet my mentor and they just open up my eyes to so much more. This person may heal from music. This person may heal from aromatherapy. We don't know what can open up your mind to enter that healing stage. So yeah, that's my comment. I'm like trying not to talk too much, but yes.
No, it's everything you said was on point. It's necessary, just like you saying, acknowledge also what stage that you are in your healing process. Another word, and I think someone else said it in the panel about being stuck. Like you can be like, maybe your God or the universe sees you to be a well-known singer, but you're stuck in your trauma because somebody told you that you can't sing or you don't see anyone around you. So it's where do we get to that point to heal that so you can see yourself as that amazing artist, amazing singer, doctor, or whatever it is. And a lot of times people are stuck. So our goal is to get us unstuck, but you do it in your way, your process. Thank you, amazing panel for sharing. We have one more question for our discussion today, but we will be back. This is our 5th one. We have 5 more going on. I'm going to let the cat out the bag a little bit, but there's whispers that we're coming for a season 2 in the new year. A little whispers because this has just been powerful, and to keep it going, it's so necessary. Following your dreams, following your journey. A year ago, nobody was thinking about a panel discussion, and now we're here like, yes, we need this. We need this. Last but not least, question for y'all. Hear my accent slipping in and out. question for us is, how can we heal the inner child? And you can all just talk about what does that mean for you. I'll share really quick. And as I said, brought that question for me right away. Healing my inner child is like, I'm a serial meditate. I love to meditate all day, every day. Even before I go to bed at night, I'll play. I'm like, what do I want to work on tonight? Okay, let me play a love meditation. Let me play a finance meditation. That's me. That's what works for me. I also love going back into my old journals. I have tons and tons of journals. So I love to write and read my own journals and see. I'm like, oh, I did that. Oh, girl, you was feeling that way? Who was that you was talking about? Or different things like that. Then I look at old pictures of myself, childhood pictures, and I talk to her, a young Eki, and I send her love and light. So that is my way of healing my inner childhood. Peace, Matthew. Thank you for being here. So we have more Jordan. Thank you, Jordan, for being here. I agree. Different therapeutic experiences can unlock the strength within yourself to heal. Peace and blessings. I'm going to have Queen Aisha jump on this. How can we heal our inner, to share with the audience what ways you heal your inner childhood?
So I mentioned a little bit before, but like a big part of my healing is being the person that I want to be. And so like not judging myself for wanting to try new things, not, I know this is going to be like, it's going to be like cliche a little bit, but like wearing whatever the hell I want to wear, because like for me growing up, like I was restricted a lot by family, and like religious, notions of what I was supposed to look like, especially like as a woman, right? Like what are those things? Healing my inner child means laughing, finding joy in things. It means that I'm really on this nostalgia tip, like so hard. Like I watch all my childhood shows and I look at them from like an adult lens, and it's so fascinating. I literally was watching Rugrats the other day, if I'm like 90s baby over here. And I was just like, wow, like watching it was interesting because they put jokes in there for the adults, and like you're watching and I'm like, what was I thinking about when I watched this? And like, what do I think now? I think that healing my inner child is like talking to her. I had a wonderful experience in therapy a couple of weeks ago where I did an inner child exercise, and like I visualized myself and I talked to me at 5, and gave her like words of wisdom, and like I continue to remind myself of those words of wisdom. And the other piece of that, and this is for me, like that helps me feel a lot of healing is being able to make that space for other young people. And other people, like, and it could be from simple as the little girl on the street, right? Who maybe she's not going to get the same love and attention as, another child who's her age, and like making sure that she knows that she's beautiful, making sure that she knows that she is smart, being part of a mentorship program that I'm part of with she's now a whole 18 years old, but when I started working with her, she was 16. So like making space and showing people, especially young people, that their world can be what they want it to be, showing them that they have beautiful thoughts, light that's within them, and helping them to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve, and knowing and helping them see that they have the power to change whatever they want to change. So that's how I look at the healing. It's just, it's definitely a with internal thing, but also like making space for other people to be their full selves is what helps heal me as well.
I love that. Making space for other people to be their full selves. Yes. Thank you, Aisha. I'm going to have Fairy Hawk share in. How do you heal your inner child?
My inner child always wants to play. She just wants to play and play and play. And for a long time, I forgot to play, y'all. I forgot to have fun. I took everything too serious. And now I'm just like, okay, not saying that there's not time and space for that too, but also like I've been told I grew up in a very verbally abusive household. And I was really stunted about my creativity. It was always no. It was always no, you can't do that. No, like, I would come up with these lavish ideas and they would just shut down. And so I would learn to shut myself down. And I learned to say, oh, well, like I would have an idea. And I, before even speaking it, before even trying to do it, it would just be like, "Er," like I would, my mother would come into my head and I'd be like, oh no, I can't do that. That's impossible. And so doing all the deep healing work now, how I really get in touch with my inner child is just like, I'm like, what are the possibilities? Like, what do you want to do? And then I just create. I start painting. I'm a face painter and body painter. So girl, my whole face, I'll be like, before I take a bath, like, you know, everything's like a ceremony for me. So it's like, okay, like we're gonna do this. And I don't think about it. I feel like a lot of times I get too caught up in judging it and judging the thought and judging whatever it is. So when I just be free and dancing, oh my gosh. Okay, so for me, dancing is so liberating because, like I told y'all, I grew up in a white Jewish household and I'm Colombian. So people always looking at me like when the salsa music came on, they're like, "Oh, she about to get it," and I didn't know how to get it. I did not know how to get it, and I was just like, oh man. So I would start being so, believe it or not, like I would be so embarrassed as soon as like the like salsa merengue would come on. I'd be like, like, you know, and I wouldn't know. Like I would want, like there was something in my heart that would be like yes, but I didn't know how, and I couldn't be on beat. Like I'm one of those, and so it was just like a really big thing for me. And now just dancing, like I'll just play whatever. I don't care if I'm on beat or off beat. I'm like, yo, I'm on my beat, y'all. I'm on my beat. And so that's how I get it. And actually yesterday I literally led a group of beautiful women in an inner child workshop, and
Wow.
just seeing them, like, you know, having them write to their inner child, sing, using our voices. Oh my gosh, that's another thing. Like doing me, like I do a lot of ceremonies, and I medicine drum, and I sing, and with my rattle and everything, and unlocking my voice because I've been so suppressed in so many ways. Like it's just so freeing and liberating. My inner child's like, yes, like just like speak, sing. And I don't do it with any judgment. I just let her be the wild, beautiful being that she wants to be. And it's so liberating. And yeah, that's what I do.
Love it. Love you. Yes, yes, yes. I love that you said you ask your childhood inner self, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Michelle said, yes, dancing is liberating. That's one of my dancing boos. Yes, yes. I'm going to have Queen Timmy jump in on this last question. And then we're going to have Rashina and then close it out with Dr. Purvis. I like saying that, Dr. Purvis.
So, how do I heal my inner child? I've been doing a lot of it lately, and I love hula hooping. So, and she loves hula hooping. And so I just created this journey called Hoop Healing, and it's literally my inner child just coming out and hooping wherever I am. Graciela, you talked about, I'm sorry, Fairy Hawk, you spoke about getting back to the land. I grew up in Trinidad and I came up when I was 13. So that's all I knew was being in the land and planting and taking care of animals and whatnot. So I'm in transition right now to move upstate into this place called the Sanctuary, where I'm getting back to the land. And it's just so liberating. And I remember we are building a women's garden, and I was lifting rocks and building this garden from scratch. And all I could think about was that little girl I used to tote water, because we used to have to lift water to fill up the barrels. And this is what I enjoy because we had no other way, you know? And so while I was building this garden, I literally saw that little girl just come back to life. And I was tending to her by getting back to the land. So definitely getting back to the land, making space for her, and writing to her. I'm doing inner child work right now where I'm writing to myself from 0
Mm.
to 18 months. Writing a letter, tapping into her and going back and seeing how she was, and writing letters to my younger self. And yeah, just different things that I'm doing, working with a prayer stick. And someone wrote singing, humming. That's all little kids do is sing and hum with no care. And I love doing, and I've done it with Eki. I love doing this Bidra mantra, and I lead a guided meditation with it, and I connect people to the inner child and to myself, and that just hum. So, and there's so much other things, and this is what I'm doing right now for my inner child, for baby Timmy.
Thank you,
And
Timmy.
yeah,
I need
thank
to
you.
you gotta teach me hula hooping. You got skills, mama. Next up, Rashina.
For me, I heal my inner child by forgiving, a lot of forgiving.
Yeah.
Now that I am recognizing some of the trauma and I'm thinking of the players that have been involved, it kind of made me angry. It turned my inner child angry because I felt like as an adult you were supposed to do better and shield me from that trauma or shield me from what was harming me, because whatever harmed me as a child has manifested into the little bit of a mess that I have had as an adult. That was with me for years. I was just upset about things, and it's like looking at people sideways and my family like, well, where, like, what, how is that possible? So for me, I'm on this journey of forgiving a lot of my close relatives and forgiving a lot of mistakes that have happened in the past, and just forgiving as a whole. And that has really helped heal my inner child because the anger is gone, and my inner child's not looking to blame anyone. My inner child's not looking for a reason. My inner child is not looking to explain. It's like, it happened. Mistakes were made. Forgive and let's move forward. Forgive and let's be happy. Forgive and let's love. Forgive and let's play. So I would
Wow.
say I'm healing my inner child, and forgiving is at the top of the list.
Thank you for saying that powerful word, forgiven, because a lot of times they said when you forgive someone, you're not only forgiving you're forgiving, it's for yourself as well. Did I say that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're doing that for yourself as well. Thank you, Rashina. Dr. Purvis.
Um, Everything everyone said, I agree with. One of the things that I do, I recently turned 40 in July, and I thought I was gonna, like, purpose your 40. You can't dance no more. You can't break out into spontaneous dancing and being crazy and running down the street yelling and all the stuff that I did in my 30s and 20s and teens. And I was like, no, you can still do that. So like I still give myself permission to be silly, to be wild. I give myself permission to still be in that space. Also, another thing that I do, what Rashina just said, is a lot of forgiveness. I bathe myself in kindness. I try. I do my best to not be harsh or hard on myself, and that lends itself to me not being harsh or unkind to others. So what I'm giving to myself, I'm giving to others as well. Um, and celebrating. I used to not celebrate myself. And so like now I'll ask to celebrate. I'm like, yo, I just got a doctorate. Let's go celebrate. Like things like that, things that I just didn't have as a child. I wasn't celebrated a lot growing up. And I've had a lot of things happen to me this year and this is my life that are like worthy to be celebrated. And so I'm like, I'm gonna celebrate. I also watch shows from the 80s. Um, and I mean, mainly, I guess the biggest thing is forgiving, and being extremely kind to myself, and dancing, and like literally just I don't care what anybody thinks, So like just being in that space, and yeah, that's so liberating for me, for purpose, and also I do things that scare me because I used to be so restricted.
Yes.
I used to be so restricted
Yes.
and so scared to do certain things. So now I do things that scare me. So I'm like just doing things. And I was like, I'll never do that, but now I'm doing them. So
Proud of you always. Amazing. Purvis is a dope dancer. He'll just walk up in the place and start dancing. So if you see him at a party, he's ready. He's ready. So thank you,
Yep.
amazing panelists for being here. This was another dynamic, magical conversation with such brilliant mind. Before we go out, we always love to end with an affirmation. So I'm just gonna have everyone just say I am and then finish that sentence. I'll start off with I am free. Who would like to go next? Dr. Purvis,
I am whole.
Rashina.
I am unapologetic.
Yes. Fairy Hawk.
I am thriving.
Aisha.
I am
Yes.
abundant.
Timmy.
I am healing.
Give yourself a round of applause. We did it. We did it. Yes, give it. We love you all, giving ourselves permission to dance and being silly. Love to see
Yes.
you in your dance element. Dr. P from OSA. Doc, please know that you
Hi,
can dance
Osa.
and be silly in your 50s too. Honey,
Yes.
beautiful. Thank you for the affirmation. Thank you for the hearts and love. We will be, shout out to my I am fearless. We got more coming in. I love to read them. I am fearless. You better say that. These words are manifest and believe in this. They're not only words, let them lead you into action. Thank you to my amazing panel. Timmy for being here, Rashina for being here, Isa for being here, Fairy Hart for being here, Dr. Purvis, and you audience. We'll be back on Wednesday. We're talking finance in the Black community. Yep. We are going there. We
Ooh,
love
money,
you.
money.
Shout out to to Iran Network for having us. We love you. YourQueens.com. Follow us on Instagram, Your Queens Inc. and Twitter. And on Facebook, you're already here. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube, please do so. And we will see you on Wednesday. Save the day for our Kwanzaa celebration on Saturday, December 26th. We love you all. Thank you. Peace and blessings. Bye.